How you doing? Andy Blanchard with woodsmonkey.com. We're going to take a look at the Trailblazer bucksaw today. It's a breakdown bucksaw, and one of the main things that, as you can see, we're in Ohio here, got a nice little bit of snow. When you're camping in the woods in the wintertime, you want to make sure that you have good means to get firewood. One of the basic needs, fire, shelter, water. Your little folding saws like your Laplander and things like that are good up to a point. They're good for purveying firewood, but when it comes down to getting some decent sized logs, you really need to upgrade yourself and check out something with a little more meat. So this, like I say, is a breakdown. It's Trailblazer Outdoor Products that manufactures it. It's all aluminum construction, pretty tough. It's 24 inches. They also have a 18-inch model available. Very minimal difference between the two. Everything comes in here. Get a little bit of rattle in your pack, but you can deal with that. So basically got 4 key components here. Your outside frame, crossbar, good Swiss steel 24-inch blade, so that gets you a nice long stroke on the piece. We'll show you a little bit of that later on. And the main thing to look at here, the only thing that is at all not idiot proof about this saw is right there. You have a little bit different angle on the end. It's a little bit inside 90 degrees, and I'll show you that as we're assembling it here, what you need to watch out for. The end threads of the piece are mashed, so you're not going to lose this wing nut. It stays on there all the time. You've got a rubber grommet so you can tighten the living heck out of it, and it's not going to hurt it. So as you assemble this thing, here's the slots. You can obviously see that's a slot for the saw blade. You put this all the way through, or rather from this side. You got that all the way through. And like I was saying there, that angle is a little bit different. So this frame, bucksaws have an A frame, so this frame would be up a little bit, or rather this angle would be out a little bit if you had it assembled wrong. So if you assemble it like this, it holds into that angle. It's going to hold it inside a little bit. So you want to have it up so that as it tightens up, it holds the proper angle in the saw. So then you get your center beam in here, a little tricky. Like so. Now before you start tightening anything up, put your blade in there. Okay, now you can start tightening everything up. Get that grommet set. Now before you really tighten it down, make sure you're seated all the way in these channels for the blade so it doesn't pop out on you later. Get her nice and tight in there. Turn it upside down, helps you a little bit. Gravity on your side and all. And really tighten this so that you get a little bit of spring in your blade. That will help retain it. Alright, there you go. As you can see, we've got 2-hand availability for sawing. You go inside here, one up top, whatever. I have used it 2 people. You get your rhythm down, you can get through a log pretty easy that way. Now this throat is a little over 7 inches. Now they're claiming on the literature, I haven't tried it myself yet, but I think it would work, that you could get through a 15-inch log. So you would cut down this way as far as you can and get vertical on it and come into that cut on each side to get through that log. So we're going to get her set up now and show you some usage of it. We're just going to show you a couple of various cuts here. This is typical of what you'll find in the woods. This is actually a piece of wild cherry. A little bit of snow on her there. Probably about a 3-inch piece. A tip for gathering in the woods: if you have your druthers, find pieces that are up in trees, things like that, that you don't even have to cut. But if you're going to find down wood like this, look for something like this where the ends of the log have it sprung up off the ground, where it's not going to draw that moisture up out of the ground when it rains and whatnot. Might see my woodland mate here, Timber, my dog, running around in the background. Don't mind, it's not a coyote. So we'll make a cut on this or two so you can see how she works. A note too, when you're using a full width saw like this, use the saw, you know, get all the way through that range of motion. Little bind there. That made pretty quick work of that. Show you another cut. Pretty decent wood. You can kind of see there that it's dry in the center. That's going to be good wood. You baton that down and get some dry kindling to start off your fire with. So, a couple of tips there. Pick the stuff that's up off the ground rather than the things laying on the ground. And we're also going to show you here how to fell a tree. Okay, so we've cut the one tree, showed you how the saw works a little bit. Now we're going to talk about felling a tree. That's a great advantage of the buck saw, is you actually have enough throat and enough stroke that you can fell it. I'm going to make a little bit of cuts here just to get started, and then we're going to show you the two-hand operation of the saw too. Really increases your cut, less effort and everything. One thing about when you're picking a tree, obviously your standing dead wood's really what you're looking for, and this tree's obviously dead to the root. You could probably push this tree over if you absolutely had to, but you know, you're risking injury to yourself and hurting your back or something like that. You don't want anything like that to happen. So the tree's grown at a little bit of an angle this way. We're going to cut from the top side, call it that for gravity, and we're going to have the tree fall away from this wild cherry and down into this open spot here. So I'll show you just some solo cuts. I started just a wee little cut there. So just nice and easy, full strokes on the saw. Snow on you from up above. So you can see I've made it 3 inches into the tree or so. This is probably 10-inch wide tree. Buddy Brandon's going to come over here and we'll show you the two-handed operation. Just more or less getting the rhythm is the thing to work on. You want to test that before you're through the cut. You might be able to get the tree to fall off of there. Still a little ways to go. What's that? Okay, here we've come into the throat of the saw, actually touching the tree. Change the angle a little. Getting real tippy now. Let's see what we got.
Nice barber chair.
Yep, there you go. See a pretty good depth of cut there. Okay, just a real quick wrap to the Trailblazer collapsible buck saw. two things I didn't mention in the beginning. This tab here on the end is the way that it retains so that it cannot come out of the tube, and that I have found is a really easy item to lose. I'm probably going to put some kind of a dummy cord or something on here to keep it. And another thing I didn't mention, you can get replaceable blades, the wood, hacksaw, and meat saw blades from Trailblazer outdoor products. So I think you can see we showed you a little bit of cutting there. That really handy saw, very durable. This is definitely going to be part of my pack for winter camping. I don't feel like it's a bad investment at all. On the internet you can find these $30 to $40 depending on how hard you hunt around to find the deal. I don't know their MSRP on it, but there you go. Thanks from woodsmonkey.com, and get out and camp.